You switched to presentation. Well, thank you, Derek, for introducing me. So again, my name is Cadeo. I'm industry manager for Google Mobile for Southeast Asia. So today I'm actually going to talk to you about, you saw the great stuff in the previous presentation in terms of how consumers are actually engaging and utilizing smartphones and how this base is growing pretty exponentially. Now the question for you as marketers, advertisers, agencies is, well, how do you use Google Mobile to reach this audience? And that's where I'm here. That's what I'm here to talk about, is what do we offer so that you can right now, in whatever country you represent, it could be Singapore, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, APAC, reach these consumers using the Google Mobile portfolio.
So what I want to first start off is, if you look at online media planning today, it's relatively simple what you're trying to do online. You first need to generate demand. So if you launch a brand new product and if people have no idea what it is, you need to generate that demand because the demand's not there. So how do you do it? Well, you do online display. And this could be anything from YouTube, it could be running ads on other portals, et cetera, et cetera. But again, the gist of it is you're trying to generate demand. Now, once people have demand for your products, what happens if they don't convert at that moment? Well, they're going to need to find it. And how do you fulfill that demand? Simple. That's where you use Google search. When they're trying to search for your products and really trying to fulfill this demand that was generated from your display advertising. Now, that's how online works. And on mobile, yes, mobile is a little bit different from online. It's a different media vehicle. It's a little, it's mobile. You can roam, you can shop, you can mute. It's on the go. So as a vehicle versus online PC, it's obviously different. But the thing is, in terms of media planning or in terms of how reaching this audience, it's really the same thing, which is you still need to generate demand, and that's mobile display. And then you still need to fulfill that demand, and that's mobile search. So kind of the gist of it, if you think about it, is really that's the Google Mobile value proposition. We are one platform that helps you generate demand, and that's via our AdMob product, which I'm going to talk a little bit later, and then fulfill demand, which is our Google Mobile search. So it's one holistic offering that allows you to generate demand for your products and whatever initiative you're trying to do, as well as fulfill that demand if they don't take action at that point. So let me start off with how do you generate demand on mobile? So I've been doing this for about over a year. As Derek mentioned, I came over AdMob and now with Google. And one of the biggest questions I have from advertisers, agencies, clients is, well, with mobile, where do I actually put mobile? What part does it hit the consumer? Is it to drive loyalty? Is it drive awareness? Is it drive consideration? And my answer is simple. At any point in this consumer purchasing cycle, mobile can play a part in it. And let me show you how with two examples that I'm going to show you right now. So first one is, let's say you're trying to drive action for your brand or products. How do you drive action using mobile display? And this is a case study that we did with Tiger Airways via Starcom in Singapore. And they ran a campaign in Indonesia, getting people basically to acquire emails because that's really a great way for them to measure lifetime cycle of people and customers and stuff. The concept was simple. It ran a campaign on all mobile phones using the AdMob product. And when users would click on the ad, they would go to a mobile page that would capture their email. So this isn't the exact execution, but you get the idea. The user clicks on the ad, they go to a mobile landing page, and then they enter in their email. And from there, then what Tiger does is puts them into their database and sends them out these EDMs for travel deals, which I'm sure pretty much almost everyone in here probably is subscribed to. So what was the end result of this? The end result was actually pretty fantastic. So in the period that they ran the campaign, it was roughly 2 weeks, they were able to get over 1,700 unique emails captured within 2 weeks. That's a great way to grab a ton of volume within a short time span. The second thing, and I think the more important thing was the cost to acquire each unique email was roughly US $3. And that's great for them because at the end of the day, they know how much every single one of their email subscriber costs. They know how much the lifetime value of it, and $3 was a very efficient CPA. So I love showing this case study because it really shows two things. A, the volume on mobile is solid, it's strong. It can get you as much volume as any other media vehicle you can possibly think. But the key thing is it can do it very efficiently, and this is a perfect example of it. The second case study I'm going to show you is loyalty. So how do you drive loyalty using mobile? So this is a campaign we did with Nike in Southeast Asia with mindshare. And it was really simple. So Nike, as you most know, is not a sponsor of the World Cup. But they came to us and said, look, do you guys have an application on your network that allows us to associate with the World Cup, that has a good user base, that we can sponsor and own? So we looked on our network and we found this app called South Africa World Cup Tracker 2010, which happened to be #1 or #2 across all Southeast Asian market. And when I say #1, #2, it's based on the ranking on the iTunes store. And what happened was we facilitated the opportunity for Nike to own this application during the period of the World Cup. So let me show you what ownership means. It consisted of 4 ad units. The first one was a pre-roll video. So you as a user, once per day, the volume, you guys term the volume, once per day when you guys go into the application, you would click on it, the logo would pop up, and you watch one of the Nike TVC. So as the user watches this TVC, they have these buttons underneath, these overlay buttons that they can interact with. So one of the buttons, you can click on it, you can go to Facebook and become a fan of Nike Football Singapore. You can click on a second video if you want to watch their second TVC. You can click on download a wallpaper if you feel obligated to in each respective country. And you can do all these interactive actions within the app, so you never leave the application. And then when you're finally done, you can click on skip, and then you go into the app, which is a sport tracker for World Cup. So the user would see that once per day, this pre-roll video. On the second time that day that they go into the app, because people are checking scores quite frequently as the World Cup is happening, they wouldn't get a video because we didn't really want to watch them and annoy them while watching the video all the time. So what they would get was this graphical interstitial. So you would click on the app, and before the app starts, you would get this animated ad that's, you can actually take a look at the player. It's hyperlinkable, so you can actually click on it, and you can go to, again, Facebook in Singapore, become a fan. But the key thing is you never leave the app at any time. You can always click on the X button up on top, close out of it, and you go into the app, and they also had that wallpaper as well as that banner ad unit up there. So it was 4 ad units that they had that consisted of this sponsorship during the period of the World Cup. So what was the result of it? So in terms of ad unit metrics, it did fantastic. There was over 35,000 completed video views, roughly interaction rate of about 8%, 20,000 wallpaper downloads. It was solid. It was solid in terms of the ad unit metrics. But what was really interesting and what was really more important for Mindshare and Nike was the usage metrics of the app. Because at the end of the day, that's what they were buying was sponsorship of this specific app. So when we look at the usage metrics, a couple things stood out. So the first one was average time spent in the app. So before the sponsorship, roughly people spent a good 6 minutes interacting with the application. Now during the sponsorship, that shot up to about 8 minutes. So they were a little bit more engaged during the World Cup, during the sponsorship. The second thing, which is the more important thing, was before the sponsorship, there was roughly about 8,000 people using the app on an average day. And then during the sponsorship, that shot up to 50,000 average active users using this app during the sponsorship. Now, we obviously can't take all credit for it. I mean, the sponsorship did run during the World Cup. People were a little bit more engaged. But nevertheless, if the ad units was detrimental towards the user experience, you would have seen lower statistics. Considering before the sponsorship, there was really only 1 ad unit, which was a banner. And then during the sponsorship, that jumped to 4 ad units. And I think the final one was the one that they were most excited was before the sponsorship, this application across Southeast Asia had about 100,000 people who actually had it downloaded. During the sponsorship, that shot up to 140,000 people that had it downloaded across Southeast Asia. So imagine for them, they had this install base of 140,000 active users in Southeast Asia engaging with this app. Roughly 50,000 of them per day were spending about 8 minutes in the app. That's engagement, that's loyalty, and that's what Nike was really excited about. So I wanted to actually show you and close off on the display portion about some innovation that we're thinking about at Google in terms of our AdMob product. So the first thing we're really excited about is this concept called HTML5. And if you don't know what HTML5, it's basically a way to see the web in a more richer experience. So this is an example that we did in the US for a car brand called Infiniti. And what it is it's using the power of HTML5 to showcase this mobile page, and you can see how beautiful it is, without using any Flash. And this is running on the iPad, utilizing HTML5, and you get this rich and really robust experience. So that's something we're really bullish on, is the use of HTML5, whether it's your landing page or your creative. So you can see this landing page, you can see it's a really rich animation. And if anyone has an iPad, please email me. I can email you this link so you can actually play it on your iPad right now. So you can interact with the car. You can click on a couple pictures to see different scenarios with animation on the back. Change the car color in real time. Again, this is something that we built for our client Infiniti in the US that's running. And it's just basically the gist of it is a rich, robust experience that's running on the iPad, which is a mobile platform, that's almost on par, if not better, than what you can do online. So that's the first thing. We're really bullish on the use of HTML5. We think HTML5 is going to bring a rich, robust, unique experience to users on the mobile phone. But the second thing is we're also very bullish on cross-platform. So this same execution ran on the iPad, but also ran on the iPhone as well as on Android. So it's not specifically only on the Apple platform, it's also running on the Android platform. And as you obviously know, we're very bullish on Android. So you can see user go on that same page. This is on an iPhone. They can interact, have the exact same experience on the iPad, but on a smaller form feature on an iPhone. And then you see it on an Android, or actually this is the iPhone, before that was an Android handset. But again, the exact same user experience across platform. And that's something we're really, as mentioned, bullish. So it points to the fact that we think not only, obviously Apple is going to be a huge part of the mobile ecosystem, but also Android. And I'll actually show you a couple statistics in a second. So that's that. And why does this all matter? Why does it matter if you should do a lot of innovation as well as cross-platform on the mobile platform? And the reason it matters is, frankly, the user base is there. In fact, it's growing exponentially. So this is a Singapore statistic using our AdMob data. It's not in millions, sorry, I should actually say in thousands. But what this number represents is the number of unique handsets that we measure on iPhone, Android, and iPad in Singapore last month. So how we measure that is whenever a user, let's say on an Android handset, goes to one of our sites and application, we would mark that as one unique user. The numbers are astounding. So iPhone, last month we saw 711,000 unique iPhones in Singapore. And the reason I say that's astounding is if you think about it, that's roughly, 5 million people, 10%, or a little bit more, about 12% of the total Singapore population, based on our number, has an iPhone. But you got to remember, this is not everyone, because this is only people who actually went on one of our sites or application. The overall number is probably huge, and I won't speculate on it, but I'm sure it's huge. Calculation, right? 100 page views for every man, woman, and child in the country of Singapore. It's just astounding. And that number will probably continue to grow as more people upgrade from feature phones to smartphones, new form features, new tablets, et cetera, et cetera. So that's for the the display side. The second piece I want to talk to you about is, okay, well, once you got people to know your product and generate this demand, how do you fulfill this demand on mobile? And that's where search comes in. So the real key reason why you should use mobile search is really this is a great way for you to reach a new segment of customers on the go. So here's an example I have for you. This is a US example, but it's for Vegas.com. So obviously a key point of their strategy, they use AdWords on online. And what it is basically to fulfill consumers who are looking to travel to Vegas. So what they would do is be trying to sell in advance air, hotel packages, nightclub passes, show tickets. Basically, they use AdWords online to generate before people book the flight to Vegas.com. That's what they use online for. But what's great was, as a two-part strategy, when users actually arrived in Vegas, that's when their mobile search strategy came in. And if you look at this, what they did was they used mobile search to reach vacationers that are already in Vegas. So they would be trying to sell today's show, last-minute tickets, hotel address. And the gist of it is mobile search is the best way for you to engage users closer to the point of sale. And why do we think this? Well, we basically anticipate that by 2013, 1 in every 3 mobile search query is going to be local in nature. That's a huge number. And that's where mobile search comes in. It's really a way for you to have local business ad that reaches consumers who want to act now. So whether it's they want to walk into your store, they want to make a phone call to your business, they want to get driving directions, that's how mobile search helps you. It's reaching these consumers that want to act right now, whether at the point of sale or on their way to the point of sale. And what we've seen is, it's not a small opportunity, it's a massive opportunity in mobile search. So this is US data, but basically it's looking at shopping category query growth and comparing it to release of smartphones. So why is this important? Well, what we're seeing is as more and more people get an upgrade to smartphones, you're going to start seeing more and more searches. And this chart perfectly represents it. So you can see all the major phones and search query growth just growing exponentially. And in fact, what we've also seen is that mobile search, there was this perception that maybe mobile search, as more people are doing mobile search, the question becomes, well, does it cannibalize online search? And frankly, we don't think it does. I mean, if you look at this is US data. Mobile search actually complements desktop search. So let me explain this chart a little bit, because it's actually an amazing chart. If you look at the line that's not in blue, I think it's in black, that's the desktop search queries. So as expected, during the week, you see a lot of people doing search queries on their desktop. But then on the weekend, it drops dramatically. And that's logical, right? You're not at work, you're actually out and about, but that's where mobile search comes in. It basically complements the online search during the week with the weekend. So it's a great twofold strategy that you should be both utilizing. There are some differences in terms of mobile search. I mean, 2 things is, as I mentioned before, there's a stronger local intent. So as we think 1 in 3 search is local. And the second is new device uses. So as the example before, 1 in 4 Android searches are now voices. So there is some uniqueness to this. But in general, what we see is search behavior tends to be pretty same when you look at online users and smartphone users. So what do I mean by that? So for online desktop, average desktop query is about 2.93 words, number of characters about 18.73. Smartphone, it's almost exact, which is number of words, about 2.93, number of characters, 8.25. So the behavior is relatively similar online versus smartphones. Now, WAP's a little bit different. WAP is obviously a little bit smaller, number of words is less, number of characters are less, but it's kind of logical. I mean, it's a little bit more tough to type in a query on a handset that doesn't have a keypad or a touchscreen. So that leads to me, what is the opportunity? Well, the opportunity is really running your mobile search campaigns and directing users to, it could be your website, it could be your business phone number, it could be a store visit, or it could be a whole host of other beta stuff that we have that I'm going to talk a little bit later. Directions, coupons, downloads, reservations. And what's great about this is in this region, we just announced that mobile searches, you can obviously buy mobile search on smartphones like Android and iPhone, but you can also, we just announced that you can buy mobile search on WAP phones for other markets like Indonesia and Thailand. So you don't just neglect and miss out on the whole user base. You're reaching basically users, whatever kind of handsets they have on mobile search. And what's an example of it? So let me show you an example of a search ad. This is obviously on a high-end handset, but you can see where you have the mobile-specific search ad, you have the click-to-call phone number, you also have a feature where the user can click on it and get local information and maps of the venue. And what we've seen is, in terms of click-to-call, if you utilize that function, there tends to be a 6 to 8% average increase in click-through rates. And it's kind of logical, right? You as a user, if you're doing a query out and about, you want to just call that retailer. You don't really want to go to the website, and that's why you're going to see better click-through rates. Now, what I want to end it up on the search side is a couple innovation. These aren't available here yet. Most of these are in the US, but it's something you should think about and actually kind of digest and ponder because they're really cool on the search side. So the first one I talk about is this thing called Coupons Plus Box. So how this works is a user does a query on their mobile phone on their high-end devices, Android, iPhone, and not only do you see the search ad, but you can see they can click to call, they can click to the website, they can click on the map. But the third function that we're beta testing is you click on the coupon box, and what happens is a coupon pops up. So as the user, they can bring that straight into the point of sale, redeem it right there. They can email it to them, they can SMS it to them, they can do whatever they want with it. But at the point of their query, they get this coupon, which is an additional feature besides click to call, directions, as well as going to the website. So that's pretty cool. The second thing I want to talk about is call tracking for click-to-call ads. Now, has anyone heard of Google Voice in here? Okay, if you haven't, I won't ask any. So Google Voice is a property that's in the US, and how it works is it's what's a long explanation? Basically, it allows you to have a phone number that's a unified inbox for all your phone numbers that you can get all your voicemails, et cetera. So we're beta testing this in the US is where there's a challenge with retailers or any advertisers. Look, I want to measure attribution for my click-to-call. Yet the problem is I don't have a unique phone number or that is tough to scale. So what they could do in this beta trial is give us their phone number, and we convert it to a Google Voice number. And what happens is when the user does a query, travel agency, they click on that number, they're actually clicking on our Google Voice number that then redirects to whatever number you want to designate. But the key here is it gives you richer metrics because you're using Google Voice. So you can monitor how many calls you got, the area code of the call duration. So it gives you these richer dynamics that if you can't measure on your side, we are able to help you with this. So this isn't available here, obviously. It's available in the US, but it's pretty cool stuff that we're doing on the mobile search platform. So what I want to do is end up with really, the possibilities of Google Mobile. And really our ask to you is when you do mobile, you obviously have to generate demand. And how do you do that? You do ad mob using our display product. So this is something we did with Hyundai in the US, where you as a user would go into the application, you would see this ad for this brand new car. You can interact with it using HTML5. You play with Post-it notes. You do whatever you need to do with it. You squeeze it, you raise it. So the gist of it is this user had no idea this car existed. So you're using the AdMob product to generate demand for it, where demand did not exist before. But what happens if they decide, right now I don't really want to test drive. I want to just go to the app. I don't feel like getting more information about this car. I don't want to take action at this point that you're generating demand. Well, that's where search comes in. So let's say a week, a month, 3 months from now, they want to find out about this car. That's where they do search. They would search for a Hyundai, and they can see a Hyundai ad where they can interact with it. They can call it, schedule a test drive, click on a map. So it works together. It works where you generate demand using the AdMob product, and then if that demand is not converted at that moment, you use mobile search to fulfill demand. And that's how you need to do mobile. It's not one or the other, it's both. So thank you for your time. My email, you should have my email. It's cadeo@google.com. But if you have questions, obviously reach out to your local Google representative, and they can help you really test out the Google Mobile value proposition. Thank you.